Alright, y'all, so this is part 2 of sharing a paranormal experience. So this year would be 2002, and we just moved into another house. So this is a actual house now and not like a duplex apartment. So a little bit of backstory to the new house that we're in now, and it's, you know, currently where my mom is still at now. So there, all I know is there were an elderly couple that lived there. Upon us getting the house, the wife, you know, she was elderly, but she was still living at the time when we purchased the house, and the husband had not long ago had passed away. So I believe the wife's family, you know, may have came and, you know, put the house up for sale and taken her to Tennessee. I believe maybe that's where most of her family is from. So I believe since then, you know, she's been passed away since then. But you know, that was just a little short background of that. So with us being in the house, you know, for the first few months, and we weren't even in there for the first few months, you know, that my mom, she was, you know, noticing things and experiencing things when we were moved in. So I know maybe the first few nights she stated that, you know, everyone was asleep. Right, so since her room is close to the kitchen, you know, she'll know if anybody, you know, had entered in the kitchen, or, you know, or in the kitchen messing with stuff or whatever. But anyway, that particular night, you know, everyone was asleep, and she heard walking, you know, in the kitchen, and also it sounds like someone was opening and closing like the cabinet doors, and also opening up the kitchen drawers and everything. And it sounded like a arithmetic pattern, like, you know, whoever it is, why are they doing it over and over? And so she's like, I know those children ain't in the kitchen this time of night. This is like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, she got up, you know, peeped out her door, and she saw that all of our room doors were closed. So, you know, of course her room is like right next to the kitchen, where she can just open her door and peep in and look, you know, inside the kitchen. And she said that she didn't see anyone in the kitchen, but all of the cabinet doors were, you know, wide open, and the drawers were wide open. So she closed them all. You know, of course it gave her a creepy feeling, like who's been up in here. So she closed them and she went back to bed. And she said maybe an hour later, you know, she heard the same thing, you know, this arithmetic type of sound. So at this point she was getting creeped out, and, you know, she just didn't bother to get back up to, you know, check up on anymore, because and also around this time she had switched job shifts. So in the last video I explained to you guys that she was working a nighttime job. Now she's working the same job, but she's working in the daytime now, which means she worked mornings. So since it was so late at night with all the commotion and everything going on in the kitchen, she was just too tired to keep, you know, waking up to check on it. So she had to get up around 5 or 6 o'clock anyway for work. So she got up a couple hours later to get ready for work, and, you know, of course she checked the kitchen, she checked the living room, and everything was normal. We all were getting up for work and school, and she never told us initially that all of whatever she heard and experienced had happened. She just never said anything about it. So that happened, and I don't know if this was a few months later or how after that incident that she experienced, but she said that this is another time. One morning she was getting up for getting ready for work, and if she needs to use like the full bathroom, of course she has to come out of her room and walk down the hall from her room to the full bathroom. So as she was coming out of her room, she saw a translucent figure. It looked like it was walking towards me and my sister's room, and she saw that it was an elderly man. So she stared and she said, "Hey, who are you?" And she said the man turned around and looked at her and just disappeared. So once she recognized who it was, like she saw his face, she was oh, okay, that was the elderly man that used to live here, and maybe he was looking for his wife or wondering why maybe things have changed in his home. You never know. So that was that on her two accounts. So for me, I had a few accounts that I can speak on myself. So but this happened maybe another year or so after her encounters. So I can remember sitting on the couch in the living room, and I had braids in my hair, and I was taking my braids out, cutting my braids, taking the hair out of my head. And so our living room is right next to our dining area, our dining room. So the couch that I was sitting on, I was sitting on the same side as our dining room table would be in the next room. So the dining room table was sitting on the left hand side of the wall in the dining room. I was also but in the living room I was sitting on the left hand side on the couch, because our largest couch was on the left hand side in the living room, and you can see straight into the dining room. It was like kind of like one of those living room dining room combo type of situations. So taking down my braids and just watching TV right in front of me, across the room from me, on the other side of the living room. And how you may see someone in the corner of your eye, like your corner vision or whatever you call it, right at the table as I'm taking my hair down, there was like a black mist that appeared right at the table. And so it formed as a mist, and then it turned into like a full figure, and it was like a black silhouette. So I couldn't believe what was forming, so I slowly turned to look at it, and it was a full body silhouette of, it looked like it could have been an elderly person, because it was in the form or shape of an elderly man. Like he was kind of, how some elderly people have a hump, like they're kind of humped over, and he had like a brim head, or whatever you call those type of head some elderly men may wear. But I didn't see like actual face features or like colors of anything. It was just basically like a black shadowy silhouette figure. And so when I saw it, you know, it stayed, you know, for a second or two, and then it disappeared. And I couldn't believe what I saw. I said, did I really see that? So I went and told my mama what I saw, and she said, you must have seen Mr. Young. You know, she said, I seen him too. She said, I just didn't say nothing to y'all about it. I was like, so that was the elderly man that used to live here? And she was like, yeah, he must be still looking, you know, to see, you know, where his wife could be. I was like, okay. But I can say the good thing about that is that he didn't give me any like fearful impression to be afraid of him or anything. I didn't feel that way towards him. It was, you know, almost like a peaceful appearance, and then he just, you know, disappeared. So so that would be like my first encounter, you know, in that house. All right, so my second encounter, I apologize if the lightning, if it's too bright or anything. The sun is out, but it is setting. Like, this is like late in the evening, so, but I hope you guys can see me okay. But my second encounter happened a little ways away from my first encounter, and this would be another TV, you know, experience, you know, for, well, not for me, but I'll explain to you guys what my mom experienced, you know, with a TV back at the other house. So, and no, this is not the same TV that she has that I have, but I would say something similar, you know, happened. So I would say at this point, this has been a couple of years past, and maybe about 3 years passed since I experienced, you know, seeing the silhouette ghost. So I think I had to been around 17 or 18, and of course this was on the weekend, on a Saturday night or whatever, Saturday morning, whatever. But I normally used to love binge watching, you know, TV, you know, late over until, you know, the next morning. So this had to been around about, I would say maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And there was like infomercial on the TV. So I'm on my phone, you know, just scrolling on social media, whatever like that on my phone, but also listening to whatever infomercial that was on. And out of nowhere, my TV, now I didn't have like a flat screen TV or anything like that. I think around this time, this was like the early 2000s, so they were phasing out on the box TVs, like the regular box TV everybody grew up with, and they was introducing in like the flat screen TVs at the time. But you know, like that, you know, if you had like a regular analog TV, you would now have to get a converter box so that you would be able to continue to watch, you know, those regular, you know, TV channels that you once did. You know, your TV was able with the antenna to receive, you know, regular TV channels, but you know, I guess they, you know, television has, you know, or broadcasting stations, you know, did something different where you would need a converter box for, you know, your TV converter box and an antenna. So that's what we had to use for a while before we were able to afford to get flat screen. But anywho, I had my regular TV and converter box, you know, set up or whatever like that. So I'm chilling in the bed, strolling on my phone, and my TV is sitting on a Chester, you know, just right across the room from my bed. facing in front of my bed, and where I can just watch TV from my bed. So I can recall that the TV, like how my mom's did, went into this frying state. And but this time it was different. So while my TV was in this frying state, there was it was like the weirdest sound that came from this TV. And when I tell you, it was like a deep, like someone was speaking through the television in a deep, dark, scary voice. It sounded demonic. To be honest, it sounded demonic. And no, I never been involved in any type of witchcraft, or I don't believe in that stuff, or Ouija boards. I don't believe in that stuff. But this just happened out of the blue. So whatever this was, as a TV, had like the squiggly lines of frying, like it was frying, and it like the frying part, like the frying sound got quiet, and this deep, dark, demonic voice, like it was speaking to me or something like that. I'm like, at this point, I'm sitting up in the bed like, what is this? And I'm trying to change channel with my remote, and it wasn't changing. Whatever was talking, it sounded like it was talking in a different language. I couldn't understand, what it was saying or what, but it sounded like a demonic voice coming from the television. But it was very creepy and scary. It did that for a minute or two, and it had me frozen in the bed, because normally me, I've been shot out of my room and just get the heck away. So I was kind of frozen and shocked, like, is this how the TV is really sounding, or what is this? I never experienced this before. Like when your TV fried, it just fried, because it lost signal. I don't hear any other sound but the frying noise. So what is this demonic voice coming from, and why? But it did that for a few minutes, and then my TV stopped frying and the infomercial popped back on the TV. So that was my second encounter. My third encounter happened not long after the TV incident. This may be a few weeks later. So once again, except this time, this was like at the break of day. I would say maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still laying in the bed asleep. And at this point, I'm at the moment of getting ready to wake up, but still, how you're in the bed, woke, but kind of, still napping on and off at the same time, but you're aware, of your surroundings, even if, you're not quite out of the bed yet. So I can recall I turned on my side to sleep, I guess to nap a little more before getting up. And I can recall like looking on my pillow, and it looked like it was a shadowy figure of like some long fingers, or like creepy long fingers stretching out towards me, like like just a shadow on my pillow. So I'm looking at my pillow like this, and like kind of looking up, like but I ain't seen no, when I looked up, I'm laid on my pillow, and I'm looking beside me at the same time, like, what is this, you know? And before I can even get up, like, something, you know, came over me. And whatever it was, I could see, like, the long, creepy fingers, you know, over me. And when I tell you it took all of me, I was fighting and, you know, like, struggling, fighting, you know, this thing off me, and praying. When I started praying in Jesus' name, whatever it was got off of me. So that right there, I was like, nope. I said, it's got to be something. I don't know if it was in his house, or I don't know if it could have been a presence from the other house that is, you know, came here to taunt someone. I don't know, but all I know is from that day, as a teenager, my faith in God got much, much stronger. When I tell you, it took everything in me to, you know, to pray, to, you know, ask God for protection and guidance from anything demonic and evil. That's what it took. And I would say ever since then, I haven't, you know, or never dealt, you know, with that presence again. So here is my last encounter, which is this one. Isn't like a spooky, you know, it was spooky, but kind of like a farewell type of encounter that I had from a deceased relative. So this is now 2008, same house. So I'm a young adult, 21 years old. So at the moment, you know, I wasn't working at the moment. I was, you know, the only one still living with my mom. And, you know, she was still working, you know, her morning job or whatnot. So normally, when she leaves to go to work, I like to, you know, get in her bed and go, you know, like, go to sleep for a couple more hours before I get up for the day. It was February of 2008, so it was cold outside, and we was having issues with our heating system. So, you know, my mom had a like a little electric heater in her room. So my room, you know, kind of stayed cold, but I found it more comfortable to, you know, just go to her room. Okay, so anyway. So during this time in 2008, I had an older cousin that she recently passed away. And this older cousin, she always loved to smile a lot. She always liked to laugh and joke. And I remember her last hairstyle when she was laying in the casket it was like a burgundy, purple type of curly hair that she had in her hair, you know, in the casket. So, and I'm telling you guys that because that's, you know, gonna be important about from, you know, what I'm about to say. So, you know, that morning, got into my mom's bed, you know, to, you know, while she went to work, and I got on her, you know, in her bed, and you know, went to take a nap. But for some reason, I just couldn't, you know, get myself to go back to sleep. So, not long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after being in her bed, I heard the sound of a baby crying. And the sound of a baby crying it sounded like the baby was in the room with me. And I'm looking around like, there is no baby, you know, crying in the room where I am. Like, and, you know, her bed is next to a window. So I'm looking out the window like, is somebody outside with a baby, and I'm looking outside the window, and normally like in the morning times it's mostly quiet. Everybody that has children, they are at school, so it's mostly quiet during the morning time. So the baby sound, with the baby crying, the sound increased. Like the baby crying got louder and louder, and it just sounded like it was getting close to me. So when I listened and turned my head towards where the sound could be coming from, so it was coming from my left side, going towards my mom's room door to go out, and right behind her room door is her closet. So right, the space in between her closet and her room door is where the sound of a baby crying was coming from. So at this point, I'm sitting up in the bed, and I'm looking towards where the sound coming from. I'm looking, and of course I don't see a baby, but I clear as day hear a baby crying right behind her room door, and like in between her room door and the closet. And the room door, I didn't have it closed all the way. The room door is cracked, by the way, so it wasn't closed all the way up. So as the baby was crying, or the sound of the baby was crying, when I looked over into that direction, all of a sudden the baby stopped crying. And when I tell you, like, that same phenomenon happened from my last house, when that baby stopped crying because I looked over into that direction, everything got quiet. Like that same phenomenon again. I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, everything got quiet. No birds chirping, no cars passing that I can hear. Like, just this utterly eerie quietness. So when that happened, I'm gonna say a female figure, dark-skinned female figure, appeared in my mom's doorway. Like, how someone stick their head in a doorway, they could be speaking to you, they can be saying hello, like, hey, sticking, they're only sticking like their head. You can only see their head, and like just about to hear, like lean over in the crack of your door so that you can see their face. There was a dark, like a dark-skinned woman, a figure that leaned in the crack of my mom's door, looking at me, smiling. I was terrified as heck. And I'm looking at this person, they looking at me, and I'm screaming, hey, who are you? Or I'm thinking it was my sister. Like, nah, it couldn't be my sister, because my sister and my brother had long moved out and got their own place. But sometimes they may pop up at the house to visit, but it'll be very unusual for them to do that time of morning. So I'm screaming like, hey, who are you? Or calling out different relative names, like, who are who are you? Are you so and so? Are you so and so? Who are you? And this person just constantly just smiling at me, and eventually that person disappeared. So though my mind was at a state of shock, I kind of figured out after, I was settled down, that I said, what, maybe that could have been my cousin, because it only been a week since her funeral. And I remember she telling my mama, like, a few weeks before she passed away, when she was still alive, she told my mom that she was going to come back, to see her. And I guess, that may have been her coming back to see my mom, because my mom usually always be, sitting in her room and And if a relative come over to see her, they'll come back to my mom's room, you know, to visit her. 'Cause my mom rarely sit, you know, in the living room or anything like that. She'll just be sitting in her recliner in the room, and you know, we'll just, you know, go back there and sit with her in her room. She'll have chairs in her room, you know, that, you know, we can sit in. So I believe that was my cousin. It was a dark-skinned woman, and my cousin was dark-skinned, and she had like this curly hair. The woman in the doorway had the same kind of hair. Now I couldn't, because there was like a dark figure. My cousin's not real dark, but the figure in the doorway was real dark. Like I can see the smile, like her teeth, but like everything in here I couldn't 100%, you know, get a good glimpse or picture of. But yeah, that's what I saw. So you guys, that would be the last encounter that I had at my mom's house. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. You know, even though it wasn't, you know, anything that was you know, very scary or eerie, you know, that I told. But you know, like I stated before, I was just sharing to you guys like actual and truthful paranormal events that I experienced. So if you guys experienced any paranormal type of experiences, why don't you guys comment below if you had any type of paranormal experiences. And also, if you like the video, please press the like button. And if you're interested in subscribing, please subscribe. That's if you like gardening and canning and you know, just looking at recipes from time to time. That is what my channel is about, is, you know, gardening, not telling ghost stories. But anyway, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys on another video. If you are doing anything with your kids for Halloween, happy Halloween, and I hope you guys enjoy trick-or-treating or trunk-or-treating, or going to fall festivals at your church with your children and your family. You guys take care and have a blessed day.